back to a very special episode of My Watch Therapy. Today, as you can plainly see, we have the Rolex Datejust in the brand new, this is the 2026 model and the 41 millimeter. I'm almost kind of shaking right now. It's just so exciting. Great for the channel and great, I hope, for you viewers. Today I'm going to go over a little bit of the technical aspects, which if you watched any videos about this watch, you've already heard them, but I'll just touch on them real quick. And then we'll get into some of my thoughts and observations about this very fine timepiece. Let's take a moment to connect. Wow. Just wow. You know, there's a lot of hype around this brand, as everybody who knows watches knows. But I'll tell you what, hype is hype, but truth is truth. And this watch is just, it's a piece of art. It's a piece of jewelry on your wrist. And I think it's just, I think what I'll have to start with is just talking a little bit about the polish. Love it. That's on the top of, it's on every surface, but it's on that top. I always have a gripe where polishing seems to happen on the sides where things get scratched and it's brushed on top. The polishing, okay, I've read about, Grand Seiko, love Grand Seiko, and they have their Zaratsu polish, and some will say that's better. Some say Rolex's polish is better. I had to think about it, and I'm going to give the edge to Rolex. And I do love Grand Seiko, don't get me wrong. The polishing on this is phenomenal. And a lot of people would say it's because they make their own steel. I don't think Grand Seiko does that. 904L steel. And it's their proprietary steel that does hold and put on an incredible shine that is just, it's better. It's just better. Now, I think, Grand Seiko may do some Rolex or some of the indices better, but that's about it. It's just beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. Again, of course, it's 41 millimeter. The distance across the dial is 47.5. I'm sorry. The top to bottom is 47.5 millimeters. And then those integrated lugs extended out to 51.3 millimeters, just to give you an idea. My wrist is 17 centimeters, so about 6¾ inches, just as a frame of reference for you. It's perfect. This wrist is a little bigger than my other wrist. But I'm going to tell you what, I don't know why I always wear watches on my right wrist, even though I write with my right hand. And this is the first watch that I can wear on my left, and it's so comfortable, and I want it there. It has a conical bezel. You can see that there. That's sloping down. Let's see. It's called a sports watch. I don't know about a sports watch. I don't know what sports I'd be playing. I think I'd be too nervous to wear this watch, playing any kind of sport other than chess, if that's a sport. It does have an Easy Link system, and I think that is an ingenious. Sorry, my bird's chirping in the back. Ingenious thing there. And it's right in there. So what it does is it folds over. I can get that like so. See the little rounded piece in there? It folds over and then comes down and snaps in. So now it gives you 5 millimeters shorter. If your wrist starts to swell, you open that up and you get that 5 millimeter extra space on the strap, the bracelet, so to speak, sorry. And so it has a double lock crown. The crown comes out. The crown action is just perfection. But it does give 100-meter water resistance. So if I unlock it, right, one click, you can start, let's see, adjusting the date, and like so. Pull it out again, of course, that'll hack it. And there you go. Pretty simple, but the screw down, you can just feel it. Kind of like once it kind of clicks and then twice. It's a double lock system. No water is going to get in there. No harsh chemicals, whatever, right? The hands are the only thing I thought seem was such an amazing piece. Seem a little bit of an afterthought. They're fairly basic. They are loomed, which is great. The whole thing is loomed. But you know what? They're made of white gold. And that's there to resist tarnish. And I guess in this case, it's really kind of the function over the aesthetics for Rolex. And so it's really, I think the hands are fairly simple looking, but they are made of white gold and they will age perfectly without tarnish. And so it is a caliber 3235. I'll get into that here in just a minute, a little more. But it replaced the 3135. I'll talk about that. The previous movement used in this, and now it has 70 hours of power reserve. 70. So it has 28,800 vibrations per hour, and it is COSC certified. So so it says officially certified right there, chronometer, right? Tested in 6 positions. COSC is 5. They are doing it in 6. So just kind of looking at my notes a little bit about the movement. The 3235, I talked about it's the replacement since 2015. And the way they do it is they call it the Chronergy escapement. Okay. It's made possible. I gotta put this thing back on my wrist. Hold on. Look at that. Just beautiful. Sorry for all the fingerprints. It just sort of locks in place, right? There's no pushers, nothing. It just holds on. I don't know. The way they were able to do that, basically the mainspring is thinner. So that's the coiled up spring that releases slowly and releases energy is even thinner. And so they could put a longer one in there. And so it can release more energy, 70 hours, right? It used to be 48, I believe, or 40. So this is a massive jump. This is a massive jump. And so kind of some of the other changes from the 3135 movement, the balance staff is riveted, and now in the 3235 as a friction fit. The shock absorber, so when it takes hits to help keep that accuracy, the shock absorber for it, that also changed, is now Paraflex, used to be the KIF, not sure what that means. Is a perpetual rotor versus an axle that was riveted, and it's now a ball bearing and also with a monoblock. The barrel, and that's what I talked about, that's been thinned out, the walls as well to hold that larger mainspring. Maybe I said that wrong. The barrel was thinned out, the area where the mainspring is, so it can hold a larger mainspring that releases energy. There we go. One thing I was really kind of interested in about this watch is accuracy, of course. It claims +2, -2 seconds a day, but it's been closer to 3 or 4 seconds. And I found out because this is a new watch for somebody, the owner bought it just not a couple days ago, I guess. And the accuracy wasn't at +2, -2. It was a lot worse, and I wasn't sure why. So I did some research, and it turns out even Rolex is aware of that. They make the movement in a town called Bienne, and when they send the movement down to Geneva, which is lower, there is a change to the speed of the movement. Okay. So it's in, if you're interested, Rolex Magazine issue 13, page 39. It talks about that. So there's a higher pressure. The lower in elevation you go, there's higher pressure, which slows a movement. There's more pressure on the movement from the atmosphere. And when you're at higher altitude, there's lower pressure. Lower pressure at higher altitude, higher pressure at lower altitude. It's kind of the opposite. So when you're up high, and I live at 6,600 feet, okay? And so there's less resistance on the movement, and thus it's running quicker. And so it's faster at higher altitude. Okay, the higher you go on Mount Everest, time moves faster. And so that's what's going on here. I checked with the AD, and they said because the watch is so new, it could take, I never heard of this, 4 to 6 weeks for the watch and the mechanisms and the oil and everything to kind of like break in. And then it should slow down. It should slow down closer to +2 a day. I don't think it'll ever be -2. So super interesting. And again, this is the 3235 caliber. Let me just go over a couple more things. I think I need to just make another video. Is it worth it? The retail price on this, not the gray market, which is even more, is $9,150, almost 10 grand probably with tax. Is it worth 10 grand? This is stainless steel. It does have some gold in it on the hands. And I'm not sure if that's maybe the right question. It's the question on a lot of people's mind because it is $9,150 before tax. But knowing, that you're not only going to get your money back, but if you ever sold it, and generations later, I could sell this right now and make a couple $1,000. Okay? So, is it worth $9,150? Yes. More so than $12,000, which they sell for used. But I think the answer is yes, it is worth it. Let's see. Also, if again, I talked about the 12,000, and so I think it's worth it. Did the materials cost 12,000 or 9,000? No, but that is what people are paying, and that is what it's worth. But I think when you look at this watch, I look at it, I almost had a car accident. I tried it out just sort of outside. I got in my car, I started driving a little. I'm looking at this thing, and I almost went off the road because I'm just like, it just takes you, okay? And that's kind of one of my final thoughts on this because I don't want to go on forever here. It's just the intangibles. Look at that clasp. It is gorgeous. It is a piece of Swiss art. These center links, I don't know if it's coming through, but they're polished, and there it is. Look at the light play on that. So comfortable, such beautiful work. Those intangibles, right? Forget about the price and all that just for half a second. There is a reason why there is such high demand for this watch. It's not about the Cyclops Eye date or any of that, right? There are just things about it where a watch does speak to you, and this watch is saying a lot. It's not a highly complex watch or anything like that, right? It has a date complication. That's all. But you look at it, you connect with it. It's just got that nice, I like this better than probably any other Rolex I've ever tried on, which isn't lots, but, just the flatness of how, the corners kind of go out there on that case. The polish, again, on that bezel is just awesome. I know a lot of people like the fluted bezel. I like this better. Look at that. It's just a mirror. It's a mirror. But those intangibles are real, right? You can't describe it. You can't put a price on it. But they are real. They're real but unreal, right? And sometimes it's best not to say anything at all. It's just look at it. Enjoy it and love it. And if the watch wasn't this good and those intangibles weren't there, people aren't going to pay $12,000. Pay more used than new. Right? That's why. It's not just about a name. It's about a connection. So thank you so much. And I'm going to continue to take in this watch. I do have the tag here just for those that want to know. Came with that. You can see the movement, all of that. And there's the price, as I mentioned. So, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for spending a little of your most precious time, precious commodity, which is time. I hope it was worth it. I thank you for watching, and please like and subscribe to see more of my content. And take care. And thanks for everything. Bye now.